ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om. We shall now enter into the last verse of the Sadhana Panchakam, verse number 5. These are some more instructions are given by Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji to all the seekers. He says, we shall chant the verse, Ekante Sukhamasyatam Paratare Chetasamadhiyatam Purnatma Susamikshyatam Jagadidam Tadbadhitam Drushyatam Prakarma Pravilapyatam Chitibalat Napyuttarai Slishyatam Prarabdham Tviha Bujyatam Atha Parabrahmatmana Sthiyatam Ekante Sukhamasyatam Paratare Chetasamadhiyatam Purnatma Susamikshyatam Jagadidam Tadbadhitam Drushyatam Prakarma Pravilapyatam Chitibalan Napyuttarai Srishyatam Prarabdham Tviha Bujyatam Atha Parabrahmatmana Sthiyatam. So we saw 32 sadhana pointers so far. So 8 more are left. Today we shall see the first 2 values or pointers of the 5th verse of the Sadhana Panchakam. So Ekante Sukhamasyatam Paratare Chetas Samadhiyatam. Ekante Sukhamasyatam. You know, one should live in solitude with a great joy. So one should seek joy, happiness in solitude. That means one should seek solitude for a greater measure of happiness. That's the meaning. Means what? Spiritual seekers are advised to live in solitude joyously. That is the instruction. Now, what do you mean by solitude? The 2 words in English. One is lonely, loneliness, other is alone. Lonely means what? I am a dependent individual. That is, I am depending on always someone or something. I cannot live alone. So I feel lonely. And lonely is a psychological aberration. Feeling lonely. So I need always constant companion. Somebody required for me. Lonely. And some people are there, they feel lonely even when they are with so many people. That is another psychological disorder. But what a spiritual seeker should do is live joyously in solitude. Ekante Sukhamasyatam. So, hope or desire to live in solitude. Solitude means what? I am not depending on anything. I am quite contented, happy when I am alone. In the sense what? Not lonely. When I am alone means what? I don't want to depend on anybody. I enjoy my solitude. So this is the meaning. This is the basic meaning. Now, there are so many spiritual instructions in Bhagavad Gita. We find yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stitaha ekaki yata chittatmam nirashira parigraha. What a beautiful thing. Yogi yunjita satatam. Satatam yunjita. Constantly contemplate. Atmanam, see, contemplate on your own self. Where rahasi stitaha. Live in a solitary places. Ekaki. You can see alone. Yata chittatma. And one whose indriyas are well under control. Nirashihi. There is no question of mind is not whipped by so many passions and then desires and hopes and anticipations and expectations for future. Aparigraha. Meaning not holding on, not aggrandizing, not collecting many things. Just no question of parigraha. Parigrahana means just everything you wanted, everything to be with you. Various objects, identification with many things. I cannot live without them. No, aparigraha. So, ekaki yata chittatma nirashihi aparigraha. See, beautiful instructions. So, naturally, a man of contemplation likes solitude. But this is a very important point which we all have to understand. Live in solitude. Discover that independence. Then alone I can contemplate. Then alone I can meditate deeply. Then alone I can reflect. So we must set out a time every day. Even for a grahastha also, every day we must set out a particular time for solitude. That is my solitude time. Means what? Alone. No mobile phone, no TV, all switched off. And alone, enjoy. And there's a beautiful thing. If you don't like your company, do you think others like your company? So if I am alone, if I don't like myself, my company, then do you think others like our company? No. So, ekanta vasa. Ekanta means what? Another, the first beginning is solitude in this way. Somebody can go to temple, somebody can go to a nearby park, alone. No talking. If you are traveling alone in a train, you can observe this, mauna, practice it. You are alone, so just for some time at least. So, ekanta. And after we practice this way, later on, even though we are in the midst of so many people, right? Nothing happens to us. Why? I am practicing that solitude to a greater extent. So I remain undisturbed even though I am surrounded by many people. Think about it. And Bhagavan Krishna very clearly says that Mai chananya yogena bhaktiravya vivikta desha sevitvam aratirjana samsadi vivikta desha sevitvam. Again, same point. You go to a separate spot, alone, enjoy. Asakti anabhishvanga. No attachment to anybody. So therefore, one of the important point is that how to now practice this solitude. It's a question. Why? The mind is always disturbed. So it always wants company. It always wants me to engage in something or the other. So mind doesn't give me any chance to reflect upon myself. Mind is always turning outside. Mind is always dragging me into the sense objects. So ekantavasa is single pointed attention. Eka anta. So one single pointed, that is concentration or attention. On what? Higher meaning of ekanta is what? Though I am moving with the people, but my attention on truth is never compromised, never diminished. That spark in me, spark of contemplation, spark of awareness is never lost. So that is called ekanta in a higher dimension. First I practice solitary places. Physically. Later on, I am no more living with reactions when I am with people. And Bhagavan says in that you derive sukham in that. Sukham is there in that. There is no fear of lonely. No, it is alone. That's why great rishis and mahatmas, they spent years together in solitude, trying to discover who they really are. So, ekante sukham asyatam. Wonderful. Ekante sukham asyatam. And Bhagavan Krishna very, very clearly, again, you see, in that sixth chapter only, Yogi Imjit Satatam that we have seen, and in other places also, in Upanishads also, Anya Vacha Vimunchata, Upanishad says, give up every other talk. Give up every other talk. Focus only on Brahman. Live in solitude. So I give simple equation. This is general equation. Unless we are spiritually advanced, far advanced. Otherwise, for normal person, more we have contacts with the world outside, more mind gets disturbed. So more the samsara we expand, more the mind gets disturbed. Then what should we do? There is our dharmic field is there, dharmic field. In that field, we have to work. In that field, certain contacts are necessary. Most welcome. But I should not go overboard. Oh, I have 1,000 friends I have, 2,000 friends I have. So a seeker, spiritual seeker should do this. What? Limited and minimum contact with the world outside. And try most of the time in spending time in meditation or reading books or satsang. So this is the meaning of ekante sukhamasyatam. So we all should practice 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day. Can I live alone in my own room or under a tree on the road? So ekante sukhamasyatam paratare chetas samadhiyatam. Paratare means that Paramatma Tattva. Chetaha, mind, samyak adhiyatam. So place your mind on Paramatma, rest your mind on Paramatma, quieten your mind. How? By keeping that mind in Paramatma. So quieten your mind in the Supreme Lord, the second instruction. That is in the fifth sloka, second instruction. In the total sequence, it is 34th instruction. 34th. In this sloka, second one. So, ekante sukhamasyatam. But when I am alone, again, don't get disturbed. Oh, I am practicing solitude. But then I carry my samsara. One mobile is enough. Big samsara it is. Whole samsara is opened with the mobile. Earlier, samsara means at least you have to go there. No, whole samsara is in your mobile. So, mobile you are holding means what? You are holding samsara. In that, all kinds of channels are open, all kinds of newspapers, all kinds of the forwards, all kinds of everything is there in that. In that mobile. So we should not spend time in solitude. Again, thinking about the alone, but thinking about the world. No. When I get a chance to be alone in life, there's a time for us to close our eyes and practice 1 or 2 minutes meditation or read a page in the 2-3 minutes. So, paratare chetaha samyak adhiyatam. So, Bhagavan Krishna speaks in the 12th chapter, so much beautiful instruction. What should we do in Ekanta? Quieten your mind. Quieten your mind in the Supreme Lord. So, mind when it is resting on Supreme Lord, contemplating on the qualities of the Lord, by making an habit in the mind to contemplate on the qualities of the Lord, so mind's unnecessary wanderings will come to an end. Otherwise, what happens normally? The moment I am alone, the mind becomes extremely active and starts suggesting me. Do this, do that, go there, go here, eat that, eat this. Look there, look here. By the moment I am alone, in the sense no work, I'm just want no mobile phone, nothing I kept, I'm alone. The moment I'm doing that, mind starts promptings. Therefore, when I am alone, solitude mein, don't again think of the worldly objects. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, keep your mind in the Supreme Brahman. There in that Paramatma, quieten your mind. Paratare chetaha samyak adhiyatam. Place it very beautifully. Like park our mind beautifully on Paramatma. Like a butterfly or any other beautiful thing, it lands upon the core of the blossomed flower. we must also land our mind on Paramatma like that. So Bhagavan Krishna says, Mayyeva mana adhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivasishyasi mayyeva ata urdhvam na samshayaha. Mayyeva, eva shabda prayoga. That is, mean me alone. Mana adhatsva. Place your mind only in me. So quieten your mind in Supreme Lord. And where is that mind can really be rested? Only in Paramatma. Like the child disturbed when he comes back to the mother's lap and he gets so much peace, the baby just lies down and sleeps. And the child forgets everything. Even after 15-20 minutes, the child gets up ever fresh again, fresh. Thus, if we practice to place the mind on the Lord in meditation or through manana, whatever it is, keep the mind on Paramatma. It's refreshing. So, Mayi eva mana adhatsva. And what about buddhi? Mayi buddhim niveshaya. You make your intellect merge into me. That is, our buddhi is surrendered to the total buddhi. That is Paramatma. Surrendered to Paramatma. And where is Paramatma seated in buddhi? Because buddhim to saradhim vidhi. Buddhi is charioteer. So buddhi is charioteer. So buddhi is intellect. So my buddhim niveshaya. So take that intellect and let the intellect also contemplate upon me, my nature. How do you make the intellect enter into the Paramatma Tattva? By thinking, by contemplation. Because intellect thinks. So I start thinking about Paramatma. So mind is placed in Paramatma through devotion or through constant work or taking the name of the Lord. And buddhi is placed in Paramatma by thinking on the glories of the Lord or reflecting upon the statements of the Upanishads. Mayi buddhim niveshaya. And thereafterwards, nivasishyasi mayyeva. So when mind is also placed in Paramatma, buddhi also entered into Paramatma, then where will I reside? No, I have no independent existence. I reside in Paramatma. So Paramatma envelops me. Like a soaked gulab jamun in that sugar soup. Similarly, the mind and intellect get soaked in Paramatma. Then thereafterwards, the devotee or the seeker lives only in him. Ata urdhvam na samshaya, and there is no doubt about it. Therefore, paratare chetas samadhiyatam is absolutely important. Yukta asita mat paraha. See, Bhagavan Krishna says. And this, the seeker, mind is tuned, keeping the Paramatma mind as supreme, the Paramatma supreme goal. And once whose mind is dedicated and placed in Lord, and all sense organs come under the control of the person. Why? Their sense organs cannot disturb the mind. Why? Mind is not available to get disturbed. So when the mind is not available to get disturbed by the sense organs, why mind is placed in Paramatma? Think. So Indriyas have become jobless. They become silent. And there's no doubt about it. This path, if you follow. So the purpose is to keep the mind and intellect on Paramatma, tuned to Paramatma. And look at the whole world, only from the perspective of that thinking, sitting in the lap of Paramatma, look at the world. Or we can say Vaidika Drushti, Veda Drushti, Upanishadic Drushti. Think. So, Paratare, the Supreme Lord, let us quieten our mind, rest our mind. And the best is what? Study the stories and sages and saints. How the mind becomes peaceful when I surrender to Lord. The child is in the mother's lap and the child feels secured. Why I am in mother's lap? So this is the result of our constant contemplation on Supreme. So these two, one is Ekante Sukhamasyatam, practicing solitude with a great joy. And then what to do in the solitude? Tuning the mind and intellect to Paramatma as best as we can. Samadhi Abhyas, or practice of absorbing the mind in divine thought. This has to be done. So, Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Aratir Jana Samsadi, Bhagavan Krishna says again in 13th chapter. Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Aratir Jana Samsadi. Arati, no rati, no Jana Samsadi. Distaste, not hatred. Somehow I don't like always to be surrounded by public, disturbing me. I disturb them, they disturb me. Talk about Laukika, Prapanchika things related to the worldly things. Like our Parama Tapon Maharaj, Gurudev's Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananji Maharaj's Gurudev, Tapon Maharaj. He was not fond of meeting people. He would meet, but very less here and there. Whenever he comes to know that gang is coming to meet him, he would go from Uttarakashi to Gangotri. He will disappear. So he was not at all comfortable with a lot of crowds around him. He taught Gurudev, he taught a couple of 1 or 2 people more. But always Tapon Maharaj used to like solitary places. Aratir Jana Samsati. He doesn't like these people. So these two, Ekante Sukhamasyatam, Paratare Chetas Samadhi. So practicing solitude and tuning the mind to Supreme. Making the mind quiet in contemplation of the Supreme. If we can do this, we discover lesser and lesser dependence in our lives. So this is beautiful points. Ekante Sukhamasyatam, Paratare Chetah Samyak Adhiyatam. So we'll conclude here. So we have seen up to 34 values, 34 pointers for seekers. Next one we will see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you all. Hari Om.